Welcome guys, today we'll have a special current meta tips and guides. We'll be touching on the priest nerfs, the knights buff, and BKB explained. Here we'll be looking at the changes to the current meta since the release of Dazzle and Isle, and also the newest patch update with Black King Bar, which is an 8-second immunity item and a slight buff to knights. How relevant is that and how good is that? Let's touch on first with Dazzle, the priest nerf explained. Previously, having a Dazzle on the team or on the board, the damage taken by our courier is significantly reduced. Dazzle says 20% protection to HP, but instead it actually reduces HP by so much further. So here's a good example. If we take 2, 4, 6, 11, 16 damage as an example, Dazzle will reduce those damage to 1, 3, 4, 8, and 12. What that means is it actually runs upwards. So at 4, it will only run to 1 because the 20% of 4 is 0.8, it runs upwards. At 6, it's 1.2. Once that's run upwards, we only take 4 damage because 1.2 runs upwards becomes 2. Dazzle protects 2 HP there. So this is how strong Dazzle is at 16 health loss. He will protect 4 HP because 20% times 16 is 3.2, and 3.2 runs upwards, it's 4 HP. So this is why Dazzle protect HP by more than 25%. That was the previous Dazzle. That's why he's triple S tier for me. Now with new Dazzle changes, he protects less than 20% HP. Let's have a look here. Same damage counters, 2, 4, 6, 11, 16. Now, he will not reduce any damage until it's rounded downwards. So 0.8 gets rounded down. So at 6, he will reduce by 1. At 11, he will reduce by 2. At 16, he will reduce by 3. Notice on 4, he will not reduce anything because 0.8 rounded down is 0. This means Dazzle is quite weaker compared to before. Before, any lineup can pick up a Dazzle and just sail through the game and come usually top 5 because of the HP protection to the effective HP. Dazzle went from triple S tier for me to S- tier because there's still a lineup that can use Dazzle with the 5 chores, with potentially a mage lineup because his Shadow Grave is so good for mages with mana regen that allow mage to tank up and to get the spells off. And also he's a great 1-star unit to go with different lineups to protect some health still. So sometimes you just need any HP protection, whether it's previous or now, he's still a very good unit. So I think he's still definitely relevant, but he's not so overpowered as before. Previously, if I found a Dazzle at around 4 or 5, the game's pretty much over. I could go on losing streak and no one could stop me. Let's look at the second part. Knights buffed. Previously, with 6 Knights, we have the 35% proccing of the shields for all the allies to 40%. This is a slight buff, but Knights actually went from B tier to A- tier for me. Why is that? Although 5% seems very small, but that is actually a 13% increase of shield proc rate. Because from 35% to 40%, the 5% increase is in proportional to 35. So before you only have 35, now you have 40. That increased the proc rate by 13%, which is quite significant. When we're facing mages and lineups, we have a switch lineup with trolls and knights, maybe dragons and knights. That is very important. So knights did have a relevant buff, although only 5% in paper, 13% with the proc rate. The first reason knights is getting stronger is that knights counter mages, as we touched before, and this rate does help a lot because every unit now have 40% proc rate. The second point is most people are traumatized by how much knights are nerfed after the 1st of May, and people actively avoid knights, myself personally as well. But after seeing a lot of good players, queen players like Duck, a lot of players actually picking up knights, we do notice that this opens up the knights pool, and this becomes a niche market for the knights. If no one plays knights, and if we play knights, all the units are there for us to find. It's so much easier to find 2-star and 3-star knights, and especially after the Chaos Knight was nerfed. People used to tag Chaos Knight at 2-star just for his great early game, but now they take him less because the Knights are nerfed and Chaos Knights are nerfed. And knowing that the Knights got a slight buff, and also no one's picking Knights a lot, we can take this to advantage and pick up this niche market. The third thing I want to touch with you guys is Black King Bar. Black King Bar is the new 8-second spell immunity item. This new item really adds to the RNG lottery for the item drops. Let's look at its components. The components for the Black King Bar is Ogre Axe and Metal Hammer. We know what Metal Hammer is, let's look at Ogre Axe. Ogre Axe at 15% max HP. You might be like, hey, that's pretty good on my unit, right? Let's have a look at the numbers. Usually a 2-star unit will have 1500 or less than that HP, and 1500 HP at 15% only gives us 225 HP, which is less than 250 HP of the Vitality Booster. So this item, Ogre Axe, is not the game changer for us. And on a 3-star unit, it is a little nicer, yes. A BKB, once combined, the Mythril Hammer and Ogre Axe will give 15 attack, 15 max HP, which is the component of Mythril Hammer and Ogre Axe, and 8 second spell resistance. The key here is the spell resistance, or the magic resistance. Knowing that the Ogre Axe as a standalone item is not better than Vitality Booster, we can start tailoring and organizing the usage of Ogre Axe to prioritize for preparation to pick up a BKB. And this is very important, because if we have a crucial unit, that can make our unit so much stronger with a magic resistance. Some ideal units for BKB, let's have a look. Usually 3-star units are great because they have so much HP pool, they make use of the max HP. Also, magic immunity means they are so much stronger, they can deal so much damage with the 3-star attack damage and also survive long enough. Now the second thing great for BKB is ranged damage dealers. Usually our backline damage dealers will only die to AoE spells before our frontline breaks. And this is most of the case, especially for hunters as well. There is a small exception for assassins. If you guys have seen my assassin positioning guide on YouTube, you will know we can adjust for assassins. But that's the only small exception when the backline dies before the frontline. Now while the backlines are still alive, having a BKB enables 8 seconds of worry-free damage period, which will maximize our potential in dealing damage. That means we either win the round or we lose less by killing units with a magic immunity. Say if we have a magic immunity sniper, he can dish out 5 or 8 seconds of worry-free damage, no one can stop him, and that's what we want to see. Also, maybe a 3-star Terrorblade with a BKB, no one can stop him, and he can just dish out so much damage. Now, lastly, the ideal use for BKB can be used on crucial stunners or controllers. A 2-star Medusa, Conquer or Disruptor can make use of the BKB. Because additional health, they can stand a little more aggressive to the front, and also spell immunity will guarantee them to start the stun instead of by countered by other mage casters. Now, with the help of Natalie, she did confirm that the unit under BKB can be stunned. So keep that in mind. Unit under BKB can be stunned. It is the crucial part about protecting the unit from taking magic damage, then spell immunity. So if you want to avoid the Tidehunter, Medusa, or maybe say a flying arrow from Mirana, you still need to position properly and get lucky to avoid the arrows. The key is that if you can get stunned, you still want to position correctly. You know the range of Tidehunter, Medusa most of the time, you want to avoid them if possible. After knowing the 3 different units types we can have the BKB on, let's look at some fun facts for BKB as well. So some fun facts for BKB is we receive a friendly purge when BKB is activated. This purge is like a cleanse. It removes any slowing or debuff effect on the unit. Let's say if you had a Bloodstone, a Rover Major, a Kaya, a Venomancer Ward attacking you, when the BKB is activated, all those should be purged. You should have no debuffs on you, but you still have all the buffs on you because it is a friendly purge. The second thing with BKB is it allows us to receive friendly spells like Dazzle with the protection. So worry not, my friend, your Superman mode from 8 seconds with BKB can go to 14 seconds if Dazzle times are correctly. Actually, that's 12 seconds. So 8 plus 4 is 12 seconds. So Dazzle have 4 seconds unkillable with 8 second BKB. Basically, you'll not lose health. You just start dishing out damage like a Superman. BKB does not mean we avoid AoE spells. And that means enemy spells and friendly spells. What does that mean is we can still get healed by Necromancer, we can still get buffed by Ogre Major, which is a single target, but the AoE and the spells from friendlies will still affect us. So you can still stand your BKB units next to Necromancer to get some healing off. Lastly, BKB provides spell immunity, but we still die to physical damage right clicks. So if you have your BKB unit too frontal to the front, he will just die because enemies will just right click him. So make sure you position your units properly. So, we said Smoke Ghost Phase, which is Odd Ghost Phase. If you position your unit too forward with the BKB, he will still die to physical damage. Now, one thing I want to highlight for this special recording is to come back over here. The Ogre Axe is a fun item because it is an item that only goes with BKB. What I want to highlight is BKB takes Metal Hammer. With Metal Hammer, there are 3 really good items you can pick up with Metal Hammer. Let me give you a rundown with those 3 items. One is the Maelstrom, which gives it lightning procs each time you attack with a given chance. The second one is actually a Desolator, which minus 15 armors on the unit you're hitting. The last one is the BKB. Knowing that Metal Hammer actually go into 3 items, which one should you pick? Here's advice. Always go with the Desolator for the minus armor if you have a focus damage lineup. Go with BKB if you have a lineup that really focus on one unit and that unit dealing out more damage, which is a 3-star Phantom Assassin, 3-star Dragon Knight, or maybe a 3-star Sniper. Lastly, Maelstrom works really well on units with attack speed, say Troll Warlord, say the Jaw Ranger with the Master Madness, so those units really makes Maelstrom work well. But Maelstrom in comparison is not as strong as the other 2 unless you have a fast attack speed. But of course, Maelstrom can be upgraded into Majonia, which is very strong, and because of that, Maelstrom can be a slight change, but I'll always go for a Desolator most of the time, then go into BKB if I need to protect a crucial unit, because my lineup focuses on one unit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this particular new patch update, which we touched on Priest, Knights, and the BKB. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about the shorter version of the guides, and what are your suggestions about this type of guides. Thank you so much guys for watching, and thank you so much for liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for coming over to Twitch to say hi, to support me on Twitch by following and subscribing with your Twitch Primes. Thank you so much guys for the help so far. Thank you guys, I'll see you again next time. Take care my friends.